Greetings, everybody. Welcome to the third episode of the Grow podcast. I am your host, Shuman Habib, and I'm accompanied by my co host, Aryan Khanna. It is an immense pleasure to have with me the core team of the Politindia as our guests for this episode. So, without further ado, let's get right into the introductions.
Hello, everyone and the team. I'm Aditya. I'm the executive officer for the organization of the Politindia, and I'm grateful and I'm honored to be here to speak to you and to speak to your audience. Thank you.
If- Hello, everybody. I am Ritvik Garg, and I'm the Chief Operating Officer of the Politindia. And I'd like to thank the team to invite me here.
Hello, first of all, thank you for giving us the opportunity. My name is Siddha Satel and I'm the Chief Human Resource Officer at Politic.
It is an honor to have all of you here with us today, and we both are eagerly looking forward to the session ahead, as I'm sure our listeners are too. So, let's get right into it. Moving on to the first question. Why did you think about starting the Politindia? Did you do it just as a fun project, or did you want to do it and turn it into something professional?
Well, initially, if I had to talk about it, well, started well, if not how we redesigned and restarted the process of the Politindia, it kind of started in May 2019, which is around 2 years from now, but we don't consider a time period because it was just me solely trying to make efforts and to put in the stuff that I wanted to. And that was more of a casual project. I mean, I think it would be casual enough if I'm posting 5 poems in the span of 10 months. So that's quite casual. And I just used to put in rhetorics and stuff because it was all the elements around me. I participated in debates. I was actively present on social media platforms, which had a lot of news and things going on there. And being on social media also allows you to be connected with your senior peers, which kind of made sense to have a conversation with politics and scenarios in India. So it all contributed up to me having this little page wherein I could just post some rhetorics. And as I moved ahead, I in the middle of all my poems, I just released this one single two-slided article, like one slide, two slide on Instagram, and it kind of boomed. Like it would actually not boom, but for a person who had likes for like 15 to 20 likes per post, 40 like a post with 40 likes, something meant, and so were the comments. And the comments were having fights within them that a person would be there and saying, no, this NRC is not all right. And so I kind of found myself in a situation that, all right, there are people who are trying to, have their voice heard. So why don't you? And they all are kids. They're not very professional in what they are doing. They just know a little stuff here and there. And just want to speak out it to the public. So when my class 10th started, the pandemic came to us. I was free, and I thought, why not? I could just upgrade what I had to a better position to have this name, the Politindia, and have a little team working for it. Well, the team is quite huge now. So that's how it started.
Oh, wow, that's an incredible message and a really inspiring beginning. I certainly agree with you that it needs to be shared with more people. Moving on to the next question. What was your inspiration behind the name, The Politindia, and did you expect this idea to reach more than 400 people globally?
Oh, all right. So, well, of course, as I mentioned, it never was imagined to be this kind of huge. Although well, the imaginations for us were mostly monthly or periodically. They were never to be of certain time extent that would be so huge for us to imagine. Because estimating your growth for this amount, this gigantic span of time, at least for us being students, wasn't something which we ever did. Ritvik and I always used to calculate timings for small monthly ways through which we could just reach our goals and try to accumulate them into a one big goal, what it is today. And about the name of the Call India, well, besides that, it is a very simple name, but just connecting two words together, joining them, it's the mutual I between those two words. What other thing which I could find out was Politindia was a word which was never used before, and it was kind of a small word. So what actually helped me here was to have a name that people could remember, if not otherwise. Because Politindia, I mean, of course, people are like, many people join the team and they're like, oh, am I okay? I'm not content writer in Polite India. Like, it's like there are certain times when people kind of forget that, oh, there's not an E. And then my father even calls it Politic India, but it's fine. It's fine to a certain extent when you realize that, all right, it's Polit India, and you kind of get all the words around it have a similar name.
It's really quite interesting. And as I mentioned earlier, it did grow into a much, much larger idea. And now it posted articles, editorials on many international topics. I hope this acts as a perfect reminder to our listeners that every initiative, every organization starts small, and the passion and drive for anything can help it grow at the scale which you might have never even imagined.
Moving on, if I am correct, the Politindia is Lucknow's largest student-led media organization, right? This brings my mind one of the most important questions, which personally I believe everyone would like to get an answer to. How may someone express his or her opinions on mainstream social media without sounding offensive or derogatory, since the Politindia does this so well?
I like to say that there is a very thin line of how we present our opinions in a good way or in a derogatory way. And I think that the essence of not being offensive is that you should be respectful to others' opinion, because everyone has a right over their opinion. So when you're presenting your own opinion, you should be respectful to theirs and not impose your opinion on them. That's what the Politindia believes in. We don't impose our opinion on others, but we provide some meaning or some logic behind our ideas, and then we formulate them in such a way that others' opinions are formed on the basis of our knowledge and facts and analysis. So this is a way of presenting yourself that can help you presenting your opinions in a way that does not offend anybody.
That actually helped for both of us quite a refreshing perspective on how to publish articles on some useful techniques that may or may not be slightly controversial. Thank you so much. I will surely take note of this.
Moving on to some interesting questions. What was your inspiration behind creating the Human Resource Department, since we only see them in corporate offices? And in your opinion, what are the advantages of having this department in a student-led organization?
Well, as so often is the case, people aren't treated as people. As a team and organization, it is obvious to expect a few things to fall by the wayside. We do not expect things to be always super perfect. And we are like student led, and we do have this thing in our mind that, okay, some things are going to fall by the wayside. But once employee management begins to dip, managers are often left scratching their heads. Like, why are our members less satisfied? Why are people noticeably less enthusiastic in the organization? The core, and like myself, I thought that, is there something missing in the department, in the organization as a whole? Do we need a certain department which will look mainly just the matters of the employees? Do we need that? At least I had this thought in my mind that whatever is happening with the organization, people, the problem members are facing, we require a department. And to be more precise, human resources is used to describe both the people who work for a company or organization and the department which is responsible for all matters related to employees, like all the matters related to employee, and who collectively represent one of the most valuable resources in any organization. And they're like natural resources. They're often buried deep down. You have to go looking for them. You have to search for them. And they're not just lying on the ground at the surface. Well, if we talk about the benefits of HR department, to name a few, there's organizational culture, recruitment and retention, ensuring there's no cyberbullying, there's training and development, and planning for change. And HR department is responsible for creating this work experience, that work environment. And when you're in an organization, performance of an individual is dependent on the work atmosphere or the culture that prevails in the organization. Creating a good, conducive work environment is expected from the HR department. So, yeah, these are the benefits.
That's really great, and I'm pretty sure that this response has surely educated and inspired many young entrepreneurs who might have otherwise thought that this department is only worthwhile in a corporate office.
From what I have heard, the Politindia has recruited more than 100 interns from more than 6 countries. So my question for you is, how do you communicate with and continually inspire a team of so many interns without offending any of them and ensuring a mutual advantage to both parties?
So, what I think is that the main thing that you have to keep in mind while ensuring that none of your members are feeling any less is that, or are not offended, you have to treat everybody equally. I mean, you cannot make anyone feel any less in one organization of 100 people. Everyone has to be equal because uh, let's put me in a situation where I'm an intern at some organization and I don't want to feel any less from anybody else. So that is an environment that HR creates here. And also how to manage such amount of people. I'd like to thank my executive team for that because they have worked a lot, ensuring that every department is stabilized and every department is running at its expected pace. So I think if you just work it out the framework of maintaining so many people, that's not a big deal. You just have to be responsive and accountable for them and go on your path. That's how it is.
Your approach seems really interesting. Thank you so much. I shall surely remember and try to implement this idea. Moving on, how do you handle such a huge organization with such widespread operations? I mean, we have started Lucknow's first student led podcast, Vocal for Political, and 2 new columns like Scribble and Editorial that post articles on various subjects. How are you able to accomplish all this as a student while ensuring that your academics are up to par?
All right. So, firstly, about uh, having widespread operations, having things launched to us or launched to the audience, that's something that All India has always tried to do, and that's something which we take very much interest in. And as students who are working for this non-profit organization that is not giving us anything more than a community, a culture, we always try to find out ways in which we can enjoy the process of working more. And what I and Ritwik personally find is that whenever you have a new idea, a new certain idea, you might just want to associate it with the very big name of the Politindia that we find ourselves in. And that's how we start off with having new things here and around us. About managing the operations, it's just the wonders of the team, the assets that we have, and the executives that we have. If I had to, you know, they are extremely well at what they do, and they have been chosen after months of them working as a regular intern, knowing what the process of the Politindia is like. Now, if I had to speak about managing time, that's something which all of us have some part of their life phase. I mean, we all are students. We all have to continue studies. And secondly, we are all students. I suppose most of your audience are also students in an Indian education system, which puts all in an even worse situation. So, how do you manage time? Managing time is more about having like what I personally do or what Ritu personally does is to break your 24 hours into separate brackets, and those are the brackets that you have to prioritize in a way that your most important thing or the thing that is more valuable to you or the thing which will make you well off in the very future, those are things that you would do first, and the things that might give you the immense pleasure of doing it, the work at the very moment you are doing it, those are something which you might have to do it at the end. And that's how the process runs. That if you have to do something and it is not giving you a very short term pleasure but might give you a very long term pleasure, that's that's something which you have to do. That's something which you might not have to prioritize, especially as a student. If you are lacking in time. But if you have a lot of time, both of the things work better. You can always prioritize things which gives you the immense pleasure of doing it at the time you're doing it. So breaking your day kind of helps in working with all the different aspects and all the different lives that you are handling all together. That's what I am looking personally. I mean, that's a trick. That's I don't know its particular name, but it kind of works for many students like me.
I am sure that this answer would have changed and reassured many parents who were otherwise afraid to let their children start an organization because they thought it would affect their studies or reduce their grades.
Moving on to an incredibly important question. How do you continue to be at the top of your niche or even create a new niche from a completely original idea and take it to the top?
All right. Uh, about having certain new ideas, about having things that I mean, I kind of explained about the idea of having new things started within your organization just to have a little more enthusiasm into the work. That's something, I mean, from our perspective and from whatever perspective you can carry it out to be an audience members, like be a spectator's perspective, be our perspective, be a person who is just in the marketing department. From their perspective, a launch or a something which is helping you to be on the top of the niche is helping is something which you would definitely want to do, right? That if you're able to succeed on something, why won't you try it? And the way we try it is to develop and start off new things, which firstly brings us a lot of pressure. Secondly, brings us in a situation that we have to find many solutions to. And that's how I think we have been continuing to stay at the top of the niche. If in other words I could explain this, uh, what I personally have learned, I've never been, in a very, I've never theoretically read about marketing. I mean, not that I got any opportunity because I've just been promoted to class lab. And if you have to look it through my perspective of my observation of how things have worked for me, I usually divide the marketplace or the niche of mine into several stages. That all right, this is something where I stand, then this is something where people better than me stand up, and this is something where people better than them even stand up. And then when you start competing with the people in your head, with the people that are not even in your league, that's something which will help you out to be better than the people who are themselves in the league that you are. So, for example, what let me think of something that NDTV is not doing right now. I know that I cannot beat NDTV at this stage, but at least if I am having that little idea that the NDTV is not working upon, maybe I'm just striking off the people or the competition that I'm having around me right now, because that is something which is trying to make you at the top of your niche at your own league, just because you try to compete with someone who's not
Yeah.
even a part of it.
It's
Yes.
a quite great insight. I'll surely take that down. Moving on, what is your course of action then when some other organization tries to steal your interns and your viewers?
So I'd just like to add a line before Ritvik would like to explain this. But for the most of the times, the executives and the people of the Politindia, the members, the core, and everyone has been saying this line which we love to say. It's kind of egoistic of us as well, but we find the situation to be worthy enough to say those lines, say those words, and those words go by the lines. Those words go by, we take pride in being the trendsetters, and by which we mean that whenever we are having a situation of imitation or a person copying our work, we take more of a pride that we have set the standards so high. I'd like Ritvik to explain a little more about you know our, our ideas being copied.
I mean, the thing is that ideas are copied. That's a fact, and they will be copied in future. That's also very normal. And the thing is that you can't do anything about it if someone is copying your idea, and that's totally fine. But the thing is that you need to take proud in that, because someone looked up to you and copied your idea for them. So you were the trendsetter, and we believe that trend setting is our main theme. So I guess you should take proud in it that someone is copying you and you can't just do anything about it. So instead of getting, uh, I mean, see, there will always be a feeling that someone copied me, and will that work for him and not me, or for them and not me? But you can't do anything about it. So just take pride in yourself.
Like, yeah, I mean that's the most positive aspect you can take to it, unless you are, in a very good corporate house and you have a chief legal officer with you working on, those intellectual property stuff. You can't have that at the stage that we are in, or no one can have that at the stage that we are in. So the best course of action is to maybe like be happy about that someone else is being benefited out of what you try to find out. That's the only way you can think of it, if not otherwise.
And being
It's
optimistic can really help. Like, to help.
it's quite a nice perspective to have on this thing because I personally struggled with that. So thank you so much for the insight.
Moving on to the next question. In many countries like the USA, almost 1 in every 150 students seems to own or be part of an organization. However, this doesn't seem to be the case in India, where very less students are aware of such opportunities being available. What, in your opinion, might be the main reason for such a huge disparity?
Well, like in my opinion, what I feel, I don't know what like people have different opinions, but in my opinion, I feel that even if the students in India, like the one living in rural India, they're getting the education, they're knowing that they know that there exists this enterprise, there exists this organization, they're interested in it, but lack of opportunity, lack of financial status, their parents can't, they cannot buy them a laptop or a phone through which they can communicate like we're doing. And believe me, I feel this that we're very privileged that we're sitting in our rooms, we're having AC, we're having phone, MacBook, AirPods, AirDops, all stuff, all electronics. And we're getting education. So that's just so important. And what if the people living in rural India, the girls, the boys, both of them who are not getting the opportunity, what if they also join the organization? I was thinking while, reading, listening to this question, I thought, like, what if the students, like, join our organization? What if happens that, they're also aware, they're also been taught that there exists this enterprise, their interests are being taught over here. They can discuss about political issues or feminism or whatever they're interested in. But again, lack of financial status, lack of people are not aware. First point which I feel is the people are not aware that okay, there's this organization, but their parents are not allowing. They don't have that financial, money, financial problems, and then they are not being taught about it. How can they contact us? How can they reach to us? So these are some steps which the government and the parents they both need to understand, and the students as well.
I can add a little point to it, which might give you a little more understanding to why we the people in like students in India are very like very much not interested in joining the private organization sector. Uh, I could explain it in this way that this education system in India is quite monotonous, and by which I mean that it has although it says that we are focusing on extracurriculars, those and all stuff, but at the end it is not, because after you finish your school you will have to get into a college, and not everyone is going to have the sports quota in there. You need to have your marks shown up to them. You need to put your report card and you need to show that I scored this. And now, when you think about having organizations being a part of the private sector, you like I have never achieved a certificate that I have started the Politindia. Now, how would the Politindia help me in like what are the fortunes that Politindia is giving me? What are the advantages that the Politindia is giving me? Until I'm trying to be, uh, unless and until I'm trying to know or I'm aware about about the advantages the advantages of experience that I gain through the name or participating in a private organization that like the Politindia. And that's what the system in the US is. That in US you need to show your extracurriculars as well whenever you are applying to some university. And that's where people have to start their own organization, if not in order to work for themselves, but for the sake of being entered into some college that they have to study. And this is the core difference which we personally find, that this is the core reason why they are they and we are we, that they have 150 students, if I'm not wrong, and we have, I don't even know, that must be a quite low number.
It's quite a flex.
Yes, I mean, there's one more thing that I'll have to add to this. Uh, that with the educational system being monotonous, there's one more thing, that is competition. I mean, there's so much competition in India right now, and every parent wants the best for their child. So there's this stigma that has been created, that uh, parents are more focused on getting their children the only education and not co-curriculars, because again, the education system is monotonous. So parents really try to keep their children fixed on the studies, or uh, make them focus on that particular thing, because obviously that's not their fault. They want a good future, or a better future than the others for their child, because of where they have been coming from since years, and what their struggles were. So they don't want that for their child. But the upcoming competition is too much, and one factor is overpopulation. The competition is increasing day by day, and there's nothing we can really think about it when we get to it. But yes, if there's a problem of people not able to reach to us, that can be worked upon. Really, that can be worked upon. So that is what I think.
I actually never thought of it that way. That is quite a unique take on this, and I well and truly believe that more and more students in India should be made aware of the benefits of starting such an organization and be offered facilities for the same, which will surely help them in the future. Now let's move on to another question, which I personally believe is quite important for all the people tuning in today. How has the Politindia affected you in your life, physically, mentally, and emotionally?
Well, I don't think it has affected me much on the physical aspect. Uh, I mean, yes, it might have. I've not been, having having been doing any physical activity since I started with this. I've just been sitting on this very same chair. I have a desk in front of me, just constantly study and work and switch back and forth. But if I do speak more about being about the mental and the emotional aspects, those are the things that we might have to look into. So there's some of a quote by Aristotle, and I don't remember the exact lines, but it follows some, like it goes by the lines of the more you know, the more you realize that you know less. By which it explains that the more you learn, the more you'll understand that you have not learned. That there are a lot of things that you still are left to learn. And that's what some suddenly happened to me, that I used to find myself, and most of the people who have started try to find themselves in a position that, all right, I do have a good knowledge and I might be able to start it. And yes, that's a good confidence to have in yourself. But the only difference is that it's probably not that you might be knowing more than your peers, but that's definitely not what you that's definitely nothing of what you actually know. Because I have been personally interested in politics and philosophy basically, and then when you read more and more about it, you realize that, oh, things are really there, and you need to know a lot of stuff that you probably thought you knew, but you never knew that. So mentally, it kind of exhausted. Like, of course, it will exhaust you at a moment that you are overworked. You have to take your time off, but you cannot, because you have so many people having some expectations from you. And it happens with all of us. Struggle is not exclusive. We all are having our own struggles. But the only thing which is special to us is our success, or at least the minimum amount of success. And the struggle isn't even a percent of what we are actually hoping to look in the future days, considering that I'm only 16 and a very regular student. So that's it. I mean, about emotionally, I don't think. I mean, besides yes, that there had been certain times that I had to, get rid of certain members or my certain beloved members left me. I don't think there has been such of an emotional impact. You have to get uh, yourself strengthened to a certain extent that you don't have to care about people leaving you or you being left by. That's it. That's the whole point of physical, emotional, and mental aspects.
Yes, I guess. Yeah, sure. Go ahead.
Okay, so for me, TP has affected me in such good ways. Like, I wasn't this confident that I'm interviewing right now or giving an interview. I wasn't that confident. Like, I was a bit shy, though I made friends very much. Like, I was a friendly girl, and I still am very friendly, but I wasn't this confident. Polit India has like literally made me confident more. The best part about being in this organization is how find I found such good friends in here, such great relationships, like with everyone, with the core, with the executives, with the new members, with the HR department right now, everyone. They're so great, and exactly like apart from having this confidence boost up, Politindia is growing. Politindia has been growing. In with Politindia growing, I also find myself in the state that if I make a graph of my growth, I'm also growing with the same pace as Politindia is growing. So that is like very much. I am overwhelmed, like like getting the opportunity to be in Politindia and to be the core. So yes, and meeting Aditya and Ritik both, it's such an overwhelming feeling, like literally. It
Yeah,
has
same,
affected me very
same here.
nice. Yeah.
Yes, so I think the Politindia, to be very honest, has affected me a lot in my life because I think my communication skills, if we talk about communication skills, there has been a rapid improvement in that because I was not that great at it, but talking to so many members and giving them tasks or talking to them about their problems or anything that creates a sense of interaction and your communication boosts unintentionally. You don't even know that you're doing great, and when you realize that, oh damn, you really made it so far. And I think it has instilled in me a quality of leadership. Leading now, I'm leading a team of 100 members, and at times it's not easy to lead such a big team and look at everyone. So yeah, it has, but you always find a way through it with the help of the core or executives or other members. So that's the thing that has instilled uh, quality of leadership in, and emotionally there's a very strong emotional connect with the team because uh, when I feel it that I like if I think that I want to join another organization, I can't do it, man. I mean, it such a bond has been created between me and this organization. This is my second family. I can just leave it or focus on any other thing than this organization. So there's a very strong emotional connect with this organization, and I hope that we grow for 100 years. And so yes,
The
that's what.
fact that this organization feels like a home to all of us is because we have these informal sessions and we keep communicating with each other and all that. It feels like such a great bond. And we've been together for like 11 months or so, and it's a long time. It's a long time. And we've been deeply and some more members, like some of them, have been here with us at the start. So obviously we feel like home together.
It is really inspiring to hear. I never knew that starting and running an organization would help in combating so many issues, and that was so efficiently. I will surely take note of the negative steps mentioned and make sure to apply preventive measures.
What was the most important thing that you have learned, which you shall remember for the future in your experience at the Point India? And what were the biggest hurdles and sacrifices you had to go through while starting the organization?
Well, let me answer the second question first. So what I personally feel is that the struggles, the hurdles, whatsoever, the barriers, whatsoever have been faced, were faced before I started. And the very day I started them, I think I overcame those. I mean, what I have learned is that you don't have to be afraid of things. You don't have to be afraid of things. You don't need to be scared of what other people say, of how your things are going to be. And that's something which had been affecting me for a good time. I mean, not to mention that there was the rhetorical phase that I had was in a very very inconsistent manner just because of the same reason. But as we look forward to the very obstacles and hurdles that we have come across, are based until well, see, whenever you come across a problem, you have to find a solution. Whenever you find a solution, you find yourself and your organization develop. And that's how, like, for example, as Sidra mentioned, we had this people are not very enthusiastic about the work that they're doing, but they're not very happy for a periodic of time. So we started this with this HR department that helps you to have that helps you to be better at what you need and stuff. And HR is not very limited to the organizational work, but also helps you in order to maintain your whole life. And if I had to talk about academics were kind of an obstacle for me, considering that I'm in this Indian education system. I started this university last year, but it all due to Corona got shut. Well, all got shut at the very last moment. Nothing were such an nothing was such an obstacle when since it started, but before it started, there were certain obstacles which one had to really come across. In this, okay, yes. So this is there is circuit in which the TP originates is a little more. It's basically monopolized. It is monopolized with students of good schools of schools will have more opportunities than schools like us. Like I'm reading a law school where I can't speak English. I can't speak English. That's one thing. The issue here is that the opportunities that have always been given to me have always been supervised. So by which I mean that if I compete with someone else, I was never I never had the very much freedom of competing, but I always had a supervision over my head to look if I'm competing someone else or not. Like if I'm going to for some competition in some other school, there will be someone who will be looking after me, and that where it kind of stops you, resists you from exploring the very competition that you might have. And once you join the private arena, you kind of think to yourself that that this is a circuit which is majorly monopolized, and that's why if you try to read the circuit of organization, you'd find that people who are more into privately handled stuff, MUNs, debating, and all those things that a person who is not having the very much privilege might not do that. These are the things that come across to you when you start to have being you start building something in a very private area. That's what happened to me, but it kind of gets off when you have the very much strategy to it. It's not a very big deal.
It's extremely inspiring to hear. And I'm sure our audience really appreciate learning about not only the great advantages behind creating an organization and bringing an idea to life, but also the hardships that needs to be crossed. Hopefully, this helped us paint a clearer picture for them towards creating their own organization. So, Do you have any specific advice for a young entrepreneur who may wish to start their own business and follow their dream?
Right. So basically, I'd like to say two things about it. First, people get ideas. It's not that people don't have ideas, but they are really conscious or very insecure about starting it, or they are very really worried about will they be able to do it or not. I mean, see, the thing is, the point you find it difficult to jump in, that's where you jump in, or otherwise you'll just keep standing at this level and you'll never jump in. And I can't do that. I can't stand at one line my whole life. You have to just take the risk and go and do whatever you can for that. You really have the passion for it, right? So, and and if the idea has come to you, then there is a reason that it has come to you. I mean, God wants you to succeed that part. So you have to work on that. And secondly, the thing is that there are times when you will feel helpless, or you'll see that there's no growth. I started this thing, and it has been some months, but I can see no growth. Why is that? Should I just stop? No. I mean, see, there's a thing that it takes 13 hours to build a Toyota and 6 months to a Rolls Royce. So you have to just be patient, and you have to work, or just think what had gone wrong, and just improvise yourself or your team and sit and discuss with them and get ahead. You have been through times where we felt that we are getting no growth at all, but we just created new frameworks and tried everything, experimented everything, and we are at a great position right now considering that phase. So I think you should be patient, and you should never be afraid of creating your idea into reality. These are two things I'd like to mention.
Like Ritwik mentioned, there are we do have ideas, but there is this take out of others' opinion might what will do, what others. I'll give you an example of myself. I wanted to open this photography shop, but I couldn't. Like I let it go because I feel like there's something stopping me from not opening. Like there's something that I don't want to open. Time wasted and what will it succeed and whatever it is. But it really does happen that you think inside you have thousands of thoughts in your brain. But I completely agree with whatever that they said. And you have to keep going. You don't need to stop at a particular time. You know, things are going to obviously be tough for us also. We didn't expect it this much to happen in such a short span of time, but we never stopped. Even if we got best lives or if we weren't working out so well with us, but we didn't stop. We were like continuously working out all the members, the articles, the podcasts, everything. We never stopped. So I guess stopping will make you more will keep you away from all the stuff, all the positive stuff. So, go for whatever
Well,
it is.
Sidra, considering your hard work, you might even want to talk about it. Anyways, about constantly posting, about constantly working, like not posting, constantly working, constantly trying to have things in your workplace. It's if you're even not going, you have to. If you do not have to stop, but you do not have to be stubborn as well. By which that if you're not growing, you also need to know why you're not growing. You just cannot go with the very flow that you were going before. I used to post 5 articles per week, and I gained 100 followers. I'm not getting anything, but Aditya mentioned that you have to post first. So I'll be posting 5 articles again. No, that's not how it works. You have to find out ways. You have to research. You have to analyze. I mean, and the best way to be better at anything, if you do not have access to theoretical studies to it, the best way out is to analyze. If you're able to look at something and able to realize what is wrong, what is right, how is it working, that's that's basically how me. I hope you all remember those little cars that you had to push a thread, like you had to
Yeah,
push a
yeah.
thread and then it used to run. And if you open that car, you look at there's a wheel there are gears there, you have to and how is it working? So that's the whole point. That whenever you look and observe something, whenever you start analyzing it, although you never had any information or any knowledge about physics at the time you maybe you you kind of get an idea about how it actually starts. So that's about it. But you always you definitely need theoretical knowledge if you have to be very professional. But for a stage like us, we don't we or and the lack of access, we find ourselves that what that analysis and observation are the best.
It seems like really great advice, and I'm sure that it will help many young entrepreneurs who wish to start an organization follow their dreams.
Moving on, where do you plan to see the Politindia entrepreneur?
Well,
Yeah, go ahead.
uh, see again, as mentioned before, you cannot try to we are not an automobile company. We can expect and predict the sales for the next. Even companies, even big corporates, predict the sales for the next quarter and not if not for the year. And that's the whole point. That imagining yourself the very next year is something which you can't, because maybe my next article blows away. Maybe my next article is read all from the world because it showed up something. Maybe it never does. Maybe it just as a very common article with a very index we maintain. So growth is something which you might have to do month after month, periodicals after periodicals, weeks after weeks, and that might help you. I mean, have been personally, I've been talking to Ruman before interviews when we have been in this circuit, and if I'm not wrong, I mentioned 3 pages to Ruman, which existed in the very beginning of us, and I told them by the end of May this page will have these many followers, this page will have these many followers, this will have these. Ruman, I, I would you like to be a testament that none of them were inaccurate?
None of them, literally none of them were wrong.
Well,
Absolutely accurate.
that's just because you have to look at things not at a you can't have a very you don't have to see everything through a bird's eye perspective. You need to look at small stuff, accumulate them, and then have a final conclusion. That's how I look at growing people.
Not overthinking about the future sounds like an incredible idea. However, I am sure you will be able to achieve all of your small goals and eventually arrive onto the big conclusion. Moving on, I am sure that as a part of the Polit India, you all might have gotten a chance to make incredible memories, have unique experiences, and make unforgettable friendships to last your lifetime. So I would really like to know, what is one of your most treasured memories in the Polit?
I think there are many memories that I've created through this time, this 1 year. It is going to be 1 year. So I think there are a lot of memories, but this one memory of me interviewing Lenin Yaduvanshi, sir, Dr. Lenin Yaduvanshi, who's a social activist. That was a thing that changed my outlook towards many things. I had a rational outlook towards something, and he just changed my whole view and apparently my whole life. So I think that was one moment that I'll cherish forever, and there are a lot of moments, be it interacting with members or be it going to some sessions or be it interviewing anybody else or being on the top charts. So it's been a great journey. It's
My childhood memory will sound quite different, all of you guys. I remember like we used to, the four used to sit together and we used to fill the form responses. People are filling a form and members are filling in. And when we used to open this particular form, we used to see 35 plus responses, 50 plus responses. And then when you put in the Excel sheet, like I used to check these countries from UAE, Portugal, everyone. There's like this there are huge range, and that honestly, that literally makes me so happy. That is one of the memory which I find that it's very very special for me. And sending mails to them and checking where this intern is from and the past experience that they're having. And just to think of it, having hundreds of members, then managing all of them and all the fun sessions with members, all the interviews with Politindia has ever posted, and the posts. Like, I reopened the page today and the Instagram handle. I see the articles, the designs. I am amazed by the designs. Hands off, I'm amazed by the designs. I don't know, like, I really don't know how to design, but I'm really amazed by how this is there, and that is there. Everything is so overwhelming. The articles, the content, the writers of our organization, mind blowing, like literally. The articles are on the top.
Well, about like so the thing is that as as much as happy as we get, have those applications open in front of us, reading one. Like there was this moment when we had no idea about what, like because we just opened those applications, we set them like जो होगा होगा like that was a main idea of things. And then we opened the application that day and we found that people from Egypt, Portugal, Spain, I don't know what sort of countries were they were named from. So we're like, yeah, what's up with these countries? How are people finding them from here and there? And it kind of started well, but it's also like having applications kind of like analyzing those CVs, like reading through them, it's kind of tough as well because you have to reject certain numbers as well. You have to not have the very opportunity to work at our place, and that kind of hurts. We also have to maintain the very standards of the organization, the products, the standards of not the humans who work, the standards of the products. And other memories that I cherish and that I speaking around with me are the little fun sessions that I've been a part of, and we use these sessions to bond with people to have a better environment. And the sessions here are little more than what one could do. So once we went to this website, we were video calling with strangers. That was something which was already trending at the time. We found a person who showed up of heavy metal gun in the camp. So I mean, although you could never like, I was a little scared at that moment, but it was something which I mean, no one would ever cherish for this. Having a metal gun pointed at them. But well, the last year, the happy moments that we all have to that we all have to get in is something which I always cherish. But also to remember that some of those laughs are not like everyone is in their community. It's all.
Seems like a real inspiring journey so far. I am sure that it shall continue to be so in the future.
I've worked with a lot of other organizations as well, but the Politindia has like a special touch to everything since no other organization goes out of their way to uh, make these informal sessions so fun. I've been a part of a lot of these informal sessions. I've worked with the Politindia for the past 2 months now, and it's been an amazing experience for me. So I agree. I've just been a part of the Politindia for the past 2 months, and I've had a lot of good memories. So I'm sure in the last 1 year, you guys must have made more memories. Moving on to another question to inspire our audience. What is a feat that you never thought the Politia would accomplish, but it has done so?
I'd like to answer that. To be very honest, I'll just uh, affiliate with the answer that we always plan short-term goals, and I never think that there was any feat that we never expected, because when you make practical choices and keep practical goals ahead of yourselves for the month or 2 months or some weeks, so and there's nothing that you can think that will never happen. Some things that happened to us out of the blue are like once we were ranked fourth in All India podcast section. So that was really great, and things keep happening on their own out of blue. And I think it's just a disguise that it motivates me to go ahead further and further. I mean, there are some moments when you as a leader are down, you just don't feel like working. But when such things happen, you just remember them and you feel like, yes, this can happen to me at any time. And you just want to get your organization there. Yes.
And certain moments come to us. I mean, Ritvik, I, Sidra, or anyone at the click, the Politindia does not have a face. It never showed up a face that, oh, that this place belongs to me. Because we all have certainly set ourselves to be belonged by the name. And there are times when, like, I remember my school reopened after this pandemic for a month for the exams to be conducted. And there's this person who came to me and said, Arya Aditya, do you work at the Politin? Well, he had no idea if I'm or whatever position I'm currently getting at the place. But he sounded quite excited. Ritvik has mentioned it to me several times that people at his place always talk about how Politindia is doing, and I've been like these certain little gossips that go around somewhere or the other kind of makes you feel that, oh, right, you have started something and people are liking to talk about it, and people are liking to talk about it with the name of the Politindia, but not someone individual. There's no sole person that is being associated, and this is the whole community work that we have done all together. That's that's something which I cherish. That's something which I love whenever I get to listen about it. And one more thing is that Ritvik and I never realized, but we formed a community and a purpose. There are certain members who came to us, and with the working clothes, we always try to connect with people. And we sometimes get to know that they were very stuck in whatever they were doing, they were struggling. And we kind of gave them a purpose. And that is something so pure to be loved that you created a purpose for hundreds of students. We have recruited around 200 to 20 students by the time we were there. And the way you have, recruited them and you have given them a purpose, you have given them something to do with their lives besides their academics, and something that they could enjoy as well, make new friends, make a better social life, learn from the people around them. That's that's something which that's again a speed that we never thought we'd ever. Well, we never thought it in the first place to be achieved, and when we achieved it, it was something so very bold for me.
Yes, also I'd like to mention that with this one feat that the Politindia is now a part of my identity. I mean, I'd like to add to that that school incident that actually I have recently shifted to another school, and it was my first day at the school, and I apparently did not know anybody there. And the first thing somebody said to me while I was in the classroom studying was that, yeah, you're Ritvik, right? You're from the Politindia? I checked your website. That's so cool. And I was so happy that I have something in my identity, which is the Politindia, which is the thing I've worked on for so long. So that really makes me happy when someone associates the Politindia with me. And that's it. Yes, a speed that was unexpected.
It's really inspiring, and and I'm sure that must have motivated all our listeners to continue working harder and take on more ambitious projects. Alright, so this is the last question for you guys. If you could go back to your early days when you just started the organization and give yourself a piece of advice, knowing what you know now, what will you say?
I will say myself, I don't have any advice here, but just say don't worry that plus everything's going to be in place. We're going to obviously be very happy in the future. Everything will be fine. No, the thing is, I personally feel to be optimistic in every situation in your life. I know you cannot always be optimistic. You cannot have this always. There will be times when you'll cry, it will be very bad. But being optimistic in my life it really helps. So I just give this advice to myself that no matter what happens, no matter how many hardships we face in the organization, like not only inside the organization, but in the personal life, academics, handling homework, and the Politindia work and all that stuff. So you just have to be optimistic. Everything's gonna work out so smoothly. You don't have to worry about it. So that
Yes, yes, and also the two things that I advised my listeners were the things that I came across from experience. I mean, that were the things at ground zero. So while being in the process, I learned that I have to be patient and I have to be optimistic about my things. So one or two things that I'd like myself to know at ground zero or while starting this organization with Aditya and Ravi, was that just be optimistic about this thing and just support your members throughout the time. So that's the thing, and be patient about yourself. Just keep on learning things from this. So these things really help. So I hope that the things I've been advising and the things I would wish myself to know 1 year back really help you guys to get started something. Yes.
See, the thing is that I've been listening to, like, I used to listen to a lot of podcasts. It helps you, definitely helps you, but the very core of the theories that have been explained will not be of any use if not practiced. And that is all the case, that you need to have a little more practice in whatsoever you're doing. And once you have that, you will realize that, oh, this means this and that. And when I started this, I need to mention him, a great man, a man I've admired from the part for his work. Are the fourth pillar of the board of the Politindia, the chief marketing officer of your organization, Kushagra. Kushagra has been the has been one of the very few members who started with us since the very beginning. He's helped us all throughout, and he is he's one of those person who kind of advised you to do what you always wanted to and help you to grow things as you wish you want, like the things you wish to grow. He kind of helped you out, and he enjoys to be a part of the process. But if I had to give myself an advice, hey, here's another thing. I think one thing about owning the concept of ownership is something that we have forgotten. That our life is ours. Whatever I'm doing right now is because I prefer to do this. If I'm having 24 hours of my day, those 24 hours are mine and no one can snatch them away from me. Many people say that, oh, I don't have time to, follow my hobby. Or you do have the time, but you have to actively choose some other activity over your photography time or over your like photography, because I just associate hobby with photography. It's mine. I kind of had to leave it. But that's the whole idea, that you are the person who owns that for the moment being. It's your idea and you own it. It's no one is going to steal it away from you. And when you are having that idea, you should not be afraid of it. I mean, I've been afraid all of my life, like for the past, not all of my life, past 15 years that I've been existing. Then maybe this idea works, maybe this does not. Why would anyone care about it? But once you start off with things, and once you have a better idea about what you are going to do, that something would help you out a lot. And I suppose your audience, your listeners are more into starting off with things, growing themselves. Here's a suggestion. For example, I am a person, I'm a 13-year-old. Let me be a 13-year-old for next 5 years. I have this idea to start an online course. Right now, if I have to start it, what I would personally do is that if it's 15th of June today, I'd set a date on the calendar. Let's say it will be 25th of June, and on 25th of June, a post will be ready and it will be posted and it will be there on this week. And why did I select this exact point? Is because I will be vulnerable and I'll be insecure if I have to start these things or if I do not have to before I even post a singular piece or so you always need to have some of a point that yes, I need to start it off at this point and I will not delay or postpone it. And once you have that very strict time schedule for yourself, you have to work for it. You cannot, pull yourself, retract yourself from the process. And once you start out with it, things will work for you. June 15th was for us. It started off at around June 10th. I remember me celebrating one of my friends' birthday party. Like I was at one of my friends' birthday party. I did not remember that I have to start something next birthday. On 12th of June, someone mentioned that this will never start if we go with the face like I was like, all right, we have 3 days in our hand. I don't care, we need to start it by 15th. So spam, we started on 15th, 16th we posted, 18th we posted. And then in the month of June we posted 3 articles. One for the Pride month, of course, and Happy Pride month. So that's how you have to look at things that you always need to start it off. Don't care about what opinions will be because if you're as Ritwik mentioned, if you are afraid of starting something or if you're afraid of doing something, that's definitely something you should go. That's the testament to it that you have to do it. So that's all about it. If I had to give someone advice for some of myself, yeah.
I certainly agree. You need to actively decide to make the time for your hobbies, for your ideas. You need to prioritize. Thank you so much. And thus with this we come to the end of all questions we had for our esteemed guests. A big thank you to the core team for being with us despite their busy schedules. It was an immense pleasure to know.
Yeah, Ruman, it was a pleasure to be part of this podcast, and I really thank you for inviting us.
We shall try our best to inculcate the tips, techniques, and advices that you shared with us. And I shall end this episode with my hopes to collaborate with you also.
It was an honor to have you all here with us.
Well, it's been an honor for us to speak to this audience who desires to grow, desires to be better off and to be representative of a little organization between all these Gen Z organizations, between all these Gen Z. The thing is that we have been held in a very rational thinking in a very conventional, not just rational but conventional, does not let us take risks. But let's be real, we all have had our ideal dreams. One wanted to be a pilot. And those ideals are something, those ideals that we have are something that sets us apart from the from the generation that we had before us. And that's that's something we should be proud of, and that's something we should always be.
With this, we come to an end of the third episode. For those who stay till the end, We're grateful to you too for tuning in. We shall come up with another one soon. Until then, feel free to check out our social media platforms as well as our blog.
It's the Polit India's first anniversary on the 15th of this month, and we are really looking forward. I've worked with many organizations, but as I said, the Polit India has had a special effect on my life, and I've learned so much from you guys. It's been an incredible journey, and I'm really glad to have been a part of it.
Again, a big thanks to the Polit India for spending some time here with us today. Go check out and follow them on their socials too. The link to which shall be added in the description. And until then, stay home and stay safe.